Hello crafter, I am back with some more DIY fairy garden ideas. Our next project is a popsicle stick picnic bench, and I've gathered my pieces here. I'm using both full popsicle sticks and also some pieces that I cut down, and you can watch my first fairy garden video for how to cut those down. But I'm going to use 2 for the back of my bench, and 3 long slats for the base, and then I have these shorter pieces that I'm going to use to connect it all together. So right now we're looking at it from the underside. Gonna get our pieces together and lined up, load up the slat with hot glue, and put it onto the bottom of our bench. Repeat with the second support. And similarly for the back, we will glue a piece across as a support slat. So I swapped out for a more flat popsicle stick there. So I've got the front and the back, and now we need to glue them together. I decided to opt for these longer pieces that I can glue onto the back and have it raised up from the bench a little bit. Some glue here, and attach our slats. That will also act as legs for the bench. I'm going to stick these ones down as guides so that way my front legs will line up with the back legs, and put some hot glue on here and glue it into place. Finish it all off, we'll glue the front legs on. And now we have a simple picnic bench. Now since we've made a bench, I think it'd be good if we made a little table to go with it. There's larger picnic benches you can make, but we're just gonna make a small little table with some of the pieces that I've cut down to size. Now mine aren't perfectly even, so it's gonna be a little bit of a, I guess, rustic picnic table with some extra gaps and things, but it's gonna add to the character of it. So I've got it arranged in a pattern I like, and I'm looking at the bottom side. We will glue some support pieces onto the back here. And then these sections here that the long piece didn't cover, I'm going to glue some smaller pieces for support. So if we flip it over, we get this funky tabletop, and now we just need to attach the legs. So I found 4 pieces that I cut down that are pretty close in size, and I'm just going to glue them on much like I did for the bench. And once our glue cools, we can flip it over. Of course, clean up all those pesky glue strings. And you'll have a nice little table to go with your bench. And of course, with both the table and the bench, you can paint them or stain them like I showed with the fences last week. Let's start by making a lamp post. I'm going to use 2 plastic medicine cups. We'll need a stick, we'll use some paint to decorate, and I'm gonna assemble with the hot glue gun. So to start, I'm going to glue my 2 medicine caps together like this. And make sure to use plenty of glue so that way you seal it so water can't get inside. And if you want to smooth out the glue along the edge, you can just rub the hot tip of your glue gun along the glue and it'll smooth it down. Next, we'll figure out the height of our lamppost, and we'll break our stick however long we want it to be. I just snapped mine apart, but you of course can use clippers to cut it. So this is gonna glue to the bottom here, but we're gonna melt into the plastic just so we can really fit it up inside there and get a really secure hold. So I'm just gonna use the tip of my hot glue gun to melt that. And just make sure that whenever you're melting plastic that you're working in a well-ventilated area. Alright, let's see if it'll fit in here now. That's pretty good, so I'm gonna load this up with glue and then stick the stick on in there. So it doesn't look like much now, but we're gonna paint this and get it looking awesome. All right, so now that we've got our lamppost assembled, let's give it some paint to make it look just a little bit better and less like medicine cups. So I'm gonna stand it up in a jar so that I can paint and not have the paint resting on things. And I didn't have yellow paint, so I'm gonna give it a coat of orange to be like the light shining through. And we will use the object itself as our paint palette. As a quick note, you may want to put down a layer of chalk paint first and just a white or something like that, and then paint over it. I'm just gonna go with multiple coats of the orange. I'll let this coat dry, and for my next coat, I will definitely be mixing the orange with the chalk paint, so that way it goes on a little bit better. So here's what I have after the first coat, and what I should have done for the first coat, and so that way I don't have to do a million more coats, is I'm gonna use a white chalk paint and mix a little bit of my orange in, and it's gonna provide a lot better coverage. And mixing your colorful paints with a white chalk paint is a great money-saving tip, so that way you don't have to buy chalk paint in every color you want to use. Just buy a large thing of white chalk paint, and then buy your colors in a little bit darker of a tone than you want, because as you can see, mixing it with the white will make the color a little bit lighter, but essentially you can create lots of small batches of colored chalk paint without needing to buy a bottle for every color you want to use. And we're gonna get a lot better coverage this way as well. We'll let this dry. I'll probably do one more coat, but it's obviously providing a lot better coverage with the chalk paint than it did beforehand. And now for another coat, and this should be good as far as coverage goes. So at this point, our lamppost still doesn't look like very much, but we're gonna add some details in and make it look more like a lamp and less like whatever this looks like. I'm gonna do this by adding details in black paint. I'm gonna start by going around the middle. I'll do a band at the top. So I gotta be honest with you, this one isn't turning out quite as well as I had hoped it would. It looks a little sad and not very much like a lamppost, so I added a couple more details in there and kind of broke it into the window pane looking sections. So it looks a little bit more like a lamp, but still not quite what I was intending, but you know what, we're gonna call it good enough. So before I add my new pieces from this video, let's all take a moment to appreciate both how much these plants have grown and also the stepped on fences. Yeah, that was not intentional, but yeah, no, it happens. But we'll make a nice little seating area back here with the picnic bench. And I can stick the table over here as well. I also readjusted my pathway to lead to the little sitting area. And we'll put our sad, kind of strange lamppost in the ground over here. I can almost imagine that it's a lamppost. But now our fairy garden has a cute little seating area, and our garden's just about finished. Next week, I'm going to be bringing you a couple of really fun ideas that I think you will really like. So make sure you come back for that, and that'll wrap up our fairy garden series. So until next video, keep on crafting.